Deneen here. I asked one of my students, what should I do for a tutorial on YouTube? And he said, pizza dough. So we're going to make a hamburger pizza with homemade dough, and we're also going to do a vegetarian pizza with a cauliflower dough that has no flour in it, so it's completely gluten-free. Okay, let's get started. Okay, I've just mixed up all the ingredients for the flour dough pizza. Let's have a look. Look at that. It's risen. There's nothing sticking to the sides of the bowl, so we know it should be all ready and perfect texture to roll out. So let's do that. Don't forget, when you roll out your dough, sprinkle a little bit of flour on your countertop and on your rolling pin. And remember, you never put a wooden rolling pin in the wash. You just wipe it off with your dish rag because it'll end up cracking. Hi. Floured my countertop, and we're just going to knead the dough a little bit and get it ready to roll out. If you're using a round pan, you want to have a nice round ball like that. But I think today, like my mom used to do every Christmas Eve, we had homemade pizza, and she always put it in a square pan. So I'm going to kind of make my dough a little bit square. And when you roll your dough out, you lift off the edge, because if you push down off the edge, you're going to end up making it thinner on the edges. And you go north, south, west, east. North, south, west, east. And you should know your dough is growing with every roll that you do. And if it isn't, it means it might be stuck. So always check underneath and make sure you're able to move your dough. And you can make it as big as your pan or to your desired thickness. So just remember, north, south, west, east. North, south. Okay, here we've got our rectangular pizza pan and we've got our dough put in. I've lined this with aluminum foil and sprayed it with cooking oil spray, just to make sure it doesn't stick. So we're going to bake this at 400 degrees for about 10 minutes, just so when we put our toppings on top, we know that there's not going to be any raw dough in the middle. So let's put that in. Okay, that recipe I gave you was enough for 2 discs of dough, but I only want to make 1 tonight. So the great thing is I put it in a Ziploc bag, I label it pizza dough, put the date on it, get all of the air out of it. I might even double bag it if it's in a refrigerator freezer, but if it's in your other freezer that isn't blowing air all the time, it shouldn't get freezer burn. And this will freeze really nice for next weekend for Pizza Friday. Okay, let's take this dough out of the oven. Look at that, risen perfectly. We added a little bit of garlic salt so I can really smell the dough and the garlic salt in there. And we're going to make a hamburger style pizza. Well, what goes on a hamburger pizza? Well, whatever you put on a burger. So we've got some pizza sauce, a little bit of ketchup. My kids love this new thing called mayo chup, so we'll put a little bit of that. McDonald's, believe it or not, does put onions on their cheeseburgers, and they're pretty good. Mostly cheddar cheese, because a hamburger would normally have cheddar on it. A little Parmesan, just because it still is pizza. And I have some cooked ground seasoned beef here, but you could use ground turkey, ground chicken, or you could even use tofu. So I've washed my hands, and let's get started starting with the tomato sauce. Okay, and I've used a large tablespoon and I've spread the pizza sauce on. Now we're going to put on not nearly as much ketchup as pizza sauce. You just want to have a hint that it's hamburger. You don't want to have too much ketchup on there. Otherwise it'll overtake the taste. It just wants to taste still like pizza, but with that little bit of ketchup taste. And then with this mayo chup, this stuff is so good. I think I'll just put this on half, because not everybody in my household likes mayo chup. So I've done the sauces, and then I'm going to do the meat. Looks like that. I'm going to put the meat on, and then I'm going to sprinkle the onions. And then I'm going to take the cheese and sprinkle the cheese on, and then I'll bake it in the oven until the cheese is melted, because I know my dough is already cooked. Bon appetit. Okay, there it is, ready for the oven. We'll see you in about 10 minutes. There goes our timer. Pull our regular flour dough hamburger pizza out of the oven. There we go. The edges are just nice and brown and the cheese is melted. We know it's all cooked, so we'll let that sit for 5 or 10 minutes and then we'll cut it up into square pieces just like my mom used to do. Enjoy that. Here we go, hamburger pizza. Everyone, supper's ready. Oh, I can hear them running up the stairs now. Well, our regular flour dough pizza is in the oven. We're going to mix up our cauliflower gluten-free pizza dough. Now we've got our cauliflower, our eggs, Parmesan, dried oregano, some garlic powder, a little bit of salt in here, and then we're going to mix it up with a hand mixer, and then we'll put that into a parchment paper pan. All right, we've got our cauliflower gluten-free dough pressed into the pan. I just used my spatula, pressed it into the pan. Now I'm going to put it in the oven at 400 degrees for maybe 10 minutes, just like the other flour dough pizza. All right, our cauliflower dough is ready to come out of the oven. How do you know when it's done? Well, you can see it's a little bit toasty, and I've touched in the middle, and you can tell it's solid, it's not soft anymore. So let's put our toppings on this. For this one, we're gonna put on a little pizza sauce, and I'd like a little aioli sauce on this one, but you could also put on tzatziki or some guacamole. And I've got pureed peppers, some onions, and some cheddar, and then we'll bake it in the oven for about 10 or 15 minutes until the cheese is melted. We've got all our toppings on our cauliflower vegetarian, 100% gluten-free, nutrition-packed pizza. There we go. This is what it looks like. If I had some fresh basil, I would have put a few sprigs of that on as well. Okay, we're going to bake this in the oven. Hi, Deneen here. I asked one of my students, what should I do for a tutorial on YouTube? And he said, pizza dough. So we're going to make a hamburger pizza with homemade dough, and we're also going to do a vegetarian pizza with a cauliflower dough that has no flour in it, so it's completely gluten-free. Okay, let's get started. Okay, I think our cauliflower pizza is ready. Oh, look at this.
Disrespect.
He was ready to go. And I just want to say thank you, Avery, for my really cute space bun hair.